The World According to Dutch. And now your host, Dutch Coleman.
God, show me the way because the devil's trying to break me down. You know what the Midwest is? Young and restless. Might snatch your necklace and next these might jack your Lexus.
I think I needed that song there. Jesus showed me the way. I've been really emotional this past hour or so about the stuff going on in the world of sports. Again, this is the World According to Dutch, so you get my perspective, you get how I feel, you get my take, and I'm happy to give it. You can follow me at The Dutch Coleman on Twitter. Some of your friends with me on Facebook, so you can reach me there. I appreciate you listening. Also, Wednesday nights at 9, Get Warrior Tough Leadership Program, the most fascinating hour of radio that you're going to hear. I invite you to come join us with that, myself and Andrew Whitman, Warrior Tough PhD on Twitter. We will do our best to guide you throughout life and some of your issues that are going to help you from a stress management standpoint, from a people whisperer standpoint, being able to get through your trials and tribulations with the least amount of damage as possible, because there will be trials and tribulations, but how you handle them, how you choose to handle them is on you. It's highly decked out in the cover of Critical Thinking, and a lot of common sense mixed in, a lot of process. We want you to have a process. We want you to have a way that you think, an understanding of how things work, how your brain works, an understanding of who you are. That's the most important thing is who you are. And a lot of people miss that. So they operate on a daily basis without even knowing who they are, or not letting that be the lead in all the decisions and the choices that they make thereafter. You know, it has to be based on who you are, not based on who somebody wants you to be, somebody else's truth or anything like that. And so we're going to put all that stuff and package all that stuff and help you get through your day. That's www.getwarriortough.com. I'll be tweeting out the link weekly. Again, Wednesdays, 9 p.m. Set up your evening to spend some time with us. Again, keep an eye out on that for that on Twitter. And getting back at it again, close out with Cam again. Shout out to the young brother, not because he was wrong, but because he was honest. Because again, I do believe he was wrong in how he handled the situation, and wrong from my point of view, as far as the way I would have handled it. So I can't say he's universally wrong, because whenever you make a choice to do something and you're willing to live with the consequences, then I can't say you were wrong. Now, if you do something to wrong another person, that can be more universal. If I smack you in the face, I mean, I was wrong. I've wronged you. But if I say something that you don't like, I mean, am I wrong? I'm not wrong. You're depending on who you're talking to at that point. It's not a fact. If I smack you in the face, it's a fact that I'm wrong. I had no right to put my hands on another human being. But if I say something you don't like, or if I don't answer your questions, then you have a choice whether to feel wronged or not. So I don't think Cam is wrong universally. I think he's wrong from where I stand. So I would have handled it differently, but I commend him because he handled it from the standpoint that's important to me, and that's honesty, whether I like it or not. And anybody knows me, look, I'd rather you be honest and I not like it than you be deceitful, and I'm loving it. because I don't have to explain why that hurts all of us when you do that. Again, a shout out to that young man. I want to hit on a couple other things as I end the show. It's the final segment of the World According to Dutch. I feel weird when I don't touch on the Golden State Warriors, man. I know it's been amazing what those guys have done as defending champs, man. Steph Curry once again last night. Goodness gracious. I think he hit 7 3-pointers. The guy's just destroying teams left and right. And it's not just him. It's a great team effort, but he's so fascinating individually, and we gravitate towards individuals. Even when they're on a great team, we seem to gravitate towards the best individual on a great team. We've always done it. The Spurs notoriously have great teams. We gravitate towards Tim Duncan. You know, the Bulls had great teams. The 95-96 team was a great team. That whole little era with the Bulls, it was a great team. And I don't mean they had great players on the team, but it was a great team. They worked together. They all fit in. They did their jobs. But we gravitate towards the best player on the team, Michael Jordan. Golden State Warriors, man. Great team. They have every component you need. Draymond Green is big. Klay Thompson is big. I mean, you got Andre Iguodala, the MVP from the last finals. All those guys on the team. The backups are great. But Steph Curry, or Chef Curry as they call him, is absolutely ridiculous. He's taking the world by storm. The guy is absolutely the best shooter I've ever seen in my life. He's the best shooter combo guard that I've ever seen in my life. This guy is a legitimate pure point guard that shoots the ball like the best shooter in the history of the game. I've never seen those two in the same body. I've seen a great point guard and I've seen a great shooter. I've never seen one that can be arguably the best point guard and or best shooter in the history of basketball. That's what you have in Chef Curry. And this guy is absolutely amazing. He can get his shot off against anybody. His handles are a circus, Harlem Globetrotter-like. I think the other person with handles similar to his from a flash and fast standpoint is Kyrie Irving. We know the ball is attached to his hand as well. You have other guys who handle the ball incredibly well. Chris Paul, John Wall. You have guys like that, but the circus-like ability is ridiculous and it's reserved for Kyrie and Steph Curry, and that's in the game. I'm sure some of these guys can do it off the, they're not in the real game. They may not elect to do those things in a game, but these guys have found a way to effectively dribble like Curly Neal in a game, in a real NBA game. And so I got to commend Chef Curry on that, man. The guy's amazing, and he's worth the price of admission. If you know me, as cheap as I am, and I say somebody's worth the price of admission, okay, maybe not. Okay, maybe not the price of admission. Maybe I'm still trying to get my ticket comped at there. Maybe I'm still emailing Steph and trying to get a ticket, but you know what I'm saying. He's worth your money, man. You need to pay to go see that guy. He's amazing. And I'm going to contrast another, and I'm doing some quick hot takes right now just to get out of here in this final segment with some things that's been on my mind. The other thing, Pete Rose, man, I saw some more stuff about Pete Rose, man. Now, to give you a quick background, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but Pete Rose absolutely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame to me. The great Lenny Wilkens is in the Hall of Fame. Shout out to A5A. He's a member of my fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. He's a member of the Hall of Fame as a player and a coach. So we've already established that this can be done. So to me, Pete Rose, the evidence against him seemed to point towards when he was a manager. Now, we saw his career as a player. I believe he should be in as a player. Maybe he doesn't get a job in Major League Baseball anymore at this point because of his transgressions. And he can't go in as a manager. It's simple. And then you still have the opportunity. The Hall of Fame is a history museum. You still have the opportunity to talk about all the things he did as a part of baseball history in the Hall of Fame. But he continues to do dumb stuff. He did some local ad about betting on baseball. Maybe he's given up at this point on his opportunity to get in. I get that. But I think just for the sake of argument, that he needs to still stay away from that stuff and continue to build his case, because at some point, and hopefully before the guy passes away, somebody in baseball will come to their senses and he needs to try and keep it as clean as possible. So shout out to Pete Rose, man. But you got to do better, Pete. You got to do better. I'm in your camp, solidly in your camp right now. But man, look, man, even somebody like me could change their mind if you keep going on with that nonsense. Put him in as a player, one of the best players we ever saw in the history of baseball. Shout out to him, man. Big Red Machine and all that jazz, man. Also, another hot take, Johnny Manziel. Johnny, man. Johnny. Oh, what can I say, man? I'm gonna get on Johnny, and I'm gonna get on the people, man. Johnny, man, you got talking about doing better, man. You gotta do better, man. And it's to the point of almost to no return, man, because you can find yourself behind bars, man. You're allegedly beating on women more than once. We know about the issues with alcohol and drugs, allegedly, and his inability to be honest with his organization. They've suspended him for not being forthcoming with some things that he did. And he's been benched repeatedly because of off the field stuff. And this guy still doesn't seem to get it, man. And even his dad came out and basically said, man, I'm afraid he's not going to make it. And I'm talking about living life. I'm talking about life or death. His dad is afraid he's not going to make it. So he's so far gone, but still not too far gone, and he needs help, man. And also, with the reports of him hitting the female and her, eardrum being burst and all that stuff, and I saw all the defense for him, and it pains me that we need a video in order to believe a victim of domestic violence, man. It's like we're accustomed to now that there's been a couple of occasions where we saw a video, like now we need video all the time or the person's word's not good. But we fake care, man. We fake care about stuff. And when we're challenged to really put up or shut up, we as a society continue to fail. And that sickens me, man, especially with these athletes being so visible. We have an opportunity to put a hammer down on some of these situations where future athletes say, look, man, if I put my hands on a woman, I could potentially lose it all. Not I could potentially be out for a couple weeks, or I could potentially still get all my money, or I could potentially not be affected at all. I could potentially not have any charges pressed against me. But we care about this domestic violence issue. Man, quit fake caring about stuff, man. Quit needing so much, man. When's a person's word in an investigation not good enough? Come on, people. We got to do better. We got to do better than that, man. These women out here dealing, and we are notorious for being on the side of people for reasons that's unbeknownst to me. Like, I want to know why you're supporting a guy like Johnny that's been in trouble repeatedly. We're mad at Cam, whose worst transgression has been blowing off press conferences and dancing too much. We got guys with drug and alcohol problems. We got Greg Hardy in Dallas being supported in Dallas, getting another contract. If you read the reports of what he did, the actual transcripts of what he did, we should be horrified. But you got people supporting him, signing him, and you got fans because he played for your team supporting that nonsense, man. We got to do better as a society because there's young men following these guys, and there's young women that are growing up and being raised up in this society that's seeing, they're sitting by witnessing this stuff, man. And we're fake caring about stuff, and it makes me sick. Do something about it, people. Do something about it. Man, it's making me mad. So I went bad, good, bad. I'm going to go some good, man. Clemson football, man. Shout out to my boys, Clemson football, coming off signing day. Top 5 class. And when I say class, I'm talking about Clemson football, man. Full of class, Dabo Swinney at the top. Obviously, I have a personal relationship with Dabo. So that's a guy that I know that even before he was a head coach, man, he genuinely felt this way. We had conversations about the same things that are happening now. We've talked about these things, man, about the way he wanted a program to be one day when he was in charge and how it would be built and what the emphasis was on and how he cares about these kids graduating. All these things are coming to fruition now. This is things we've talked about before with him. That's why I know it's genuine when people say it's fake. Me and him talked about these things before. He shared this stuff with me before he was a head coach at Clemson University. And it's all coming to fruition because when he got the job, he set out to put all those things in motion. He set up a process that would allow all those things to grow and be nurtured and come to pass. And now they're coming to pass. Shout out to Dabo Swinney and staff and players for putting in the work, doing the thing. Now, is it perfect? No, I'm sure it's not going to be. I'm sure they're going to have some bumps in the road. They just lost the national championship. I'm sure that's going to happen. But for all the things I care about, winning is one of them. And you can't win them all. I say you can win them all, but I'll talk about that another time. But for all intents and purposes, man, he is doing the job, man. These kids are first and foremost, man. I think he had out of 100-some seniors or whatever, he had like 3 of them not graduate, and they're in the NFL. And I guarantee you Dabo's going to stay on top of them until they do graduate. So mamas that's out there listening, that's the man. Your kid's going to get educated. So that's the most important, man. So shout out to my Clemson Tigers, man. I'm glad a guy like Dabo is at the helm, running things, another class in the books. And I'm looking forward to 2017 class. He's already got it. Shout out to my boy Tony Elliott, just going to work, man. The Rain Man of football, man. This dude in everything that he does, man. This guy, and that's why I was so happy when he was named co-coordinator because he's the man for the job, man. Again, critical thinking and common sense built into one. He has that get warrior tough mentality, man. That culture is in him, and I saw it in him as a student playing basketball with him on a championship intramural team. That guy thinks about everything. Serving with him at church, he thinks. He's a thinker. And when you mix that thinking, that critical thinking with common sense, it's explosive, man. It's explosive. And that's Tony Elliott, man. And shout out to Jeff Scott as well. And I'm only mentioning Tony because of my personal relationship. But again, I said Tony was the co-coordinator. So shout out to Jeff Scott as well for his collaboration with Tony in getting our offense to where it is right now. And so again, also I can't mention those guys without mentioning Coach Venables. and I can't mention Coach Venables without laughing. As you can see, I laughed as soon as I said his name. I played ball with the guy. He's a very special individual, and I mean that in a good way, man. That's the hardest working man and everything he does, man. So and I'm laughing. If you've been around Coach V, then you know why I'm laughing, and it's all good stuff, man. That guy is who you want. I hope he continues to be here as long as he can until he becomes a head coach one day. But Coach V is that dude, man. So shout out to the whole staff, to all the support staff at Clemson for doing it, the multimedia folks, man. It's an amazing time, and we're going to continue to get this stuff going, keep this stuff going. And shout out to the athletic department for stepping up and supporting them in the way that they should be supported. And I didn't touch on some of my experiences with Dabo as far as recruiting is concerned, but I'll do that in another show in the future. But I have some strong feelings about him and his recruiting philosophy, similar to his feelings on cheating and all that stuff that I know firsthand. I have some firsthand experiences with him in the past where he's been faced with challenges directly that he shared with me as they were happening, and he handled them the right way, the way that you want your leader to handle it. So shout out to him for his integrity and the people that are beneath him. Because again, if your guys beneath you are cheating, it's because in a lot of cases, because you allow it. Otherwise, they'd be like, I'm not doing that. My boss don't allow that. I'm not getting fired. So a lot of times your staff is a direct reflection on what you allow. And if they're not afraid of you, that you're going to put a foot in their behind, then you got a problem. You're not setting a tone. You're not setting a standard. You're not creating a culture that makes them afraid to cheat on your watch, under your leadership. You need to be afraid to cheat under my leadership because you know that I'm going to rip your head off because that's not me. So when you try to pawn it off onto your subordinates, you're still talking about yourself. You create an environment, a culture that says cheating is okay as long as I don't get caught. No, that's not the way it is, man. That's not the way it is. And I hate to jump back on Pitino again, but that's the way it is in Louisville to me. If, in fact, your subordinate did do something and you knew nothing about it, you're still in the doghouse with me. And I won't believe that you didn't know nothing about it. And I hope Andre McGee flips the script on you, turns state's evidence, and tell us all what we want to know. The truth. The truth. Turn state's evidence. Andre, he's throwing you up under the bus. Even in that interview, he's throwing you up under the bus. And I know that's what you signed up for when you did it, because that's what all of y'all sign up for when y'all do it. I know the business. I know how it works. And I know some of them to this day are still being taken care of because they signed up for that. And they still getting their bills paid because they signed up to take the fall. And it's nonsense. It's nonsense. I'm not setting good examples for these young people, the visions, the missions of these universities, of these athletic departments. It's nonsense. So cut it out. Cut it out. And y'all people out there listening that can hear my voice, stop believing that nonsense. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe that nonsense, man. Be better. Think. That's some nonsense. Go back and listen to the Pitino stuff and judge for yourself. Don't just listen to me. Judge for yourself. Use some of the insight I gave you and then listen to what he's saying and think for a second. Is that possible? Is it possible? How can it be possible? Nobody contacted him about the nonsense that was going on right under his nose. His nephews are standing in that same dorm. Get out of here. I'm mad that I got back on that. Anyway, man, I appreciate you listening today, man. I'm having a good time. If you even though I'm over emotional and I'm getting excited, hopefully you're getting over emotional excited too, man, because this is some nonsense. We need to, as a society, rise up for what's right. And right is right. A lot of times there's gray areas, but a lot of times there's not gray areas. And when there's not gray areas, we need to take an opportunity to stand up. And when there's gray areas, we need to take the opportunity to sit down and critically think about what's going on, then stand up and say something when you figure out what's right. But you can't stay seated. I'm going to allow you to sit down only for the time it takes for you to figure out what's really going on. Then you got to stand up and say something. You got to. I demand that you do it. Your kids demand that you do it. Your grandkids demand that you do it. See what I did there? I went overboard. But that's who I am. D. Dutch Coleman. I will remain. Thanks for listening. And in the immortal, I almost say immortal words. In the mortal words of Russell Simmons, God bless you and good night.